We got our first clients. Awesome. Now keep them happy. Deliver results, work your face off to keep them happy.
But that's stupid.
It is, but it's how it's like I think that's how you should work.
There never seems to be enough money to do the things that we want to do.
You don't want to be in an industry where there's no competition because that means there's no demand. I think that's a great question people should be asking.
You're like Oprah. Amazing. Welcome to the Something to Prove podcast with Evan Carmichael, top billing, and Mark Drager. I hope you're doing well this week. Listen, we are trying something really, really different for everyone on Instagram, for everyone on YouTube, for the audio listeners. We are doing a remote recording where Evan is in one location, I'm in another, and if we do this right, we have all of these cameras and audio and everything happening simultaneously.
Great.
Did you follow that? I had to explain. I feel like I had to explain it to you through Facebook chat like 4 times what would happen, and each time you were like, "Yep, okay," but I didn't feel like you got it.
I'm ready. We got it. We got audio clean. We got video on me. We got the IG live. We got it. Let's go.
Excellent. Last week's recording, we were 50% through the Evan Carmichael experience of becoming a thought leader.
Okay.
And now we finished up. What were your thoughts? I don't want to leave the audience hanging. So, what were your thoughts on how the group shaped up, on how your 3-day event went?
I think it went amazing. It went so quick. I think of all the groups, it went the fastest. I know you have a context of one, so you don't really have
sample size of one.
Sample size, you don't know, but. It felt, I got sick at the end of it again, so I need to hack that better. Part of the problem was I only slept like the day before or 2 days before. I was coming from New York and slept 3 hours at a truck stop and all that, So I got to rest and prepare beforehand because I came in basically a little sick and then it just got worse. But the students are great. Amazing to see people come in from overseas. A couple people from Europe who came in.
A lot of Americans.
That's how it usually is, though. It's mostly Americans who fly in to do the workshop. Push them harder than I did in the previous ones. And so every time I was thinking, how can I step it up to push them even harder on the next one?
Nice.
It felt, though, after doing the tour, it felt like, oh, we're done so soon, 3 days. Because I'm used to okay, next city, let's go, boom.
Right.
So we fell into that pretty quickly. Looking at already setting the table for the next one.
Mm-hmm.
September 25th.
Yes.
Yep. Special guest instructor Mark Drager joining us for it. So I'm super excited. He's already he's thrown down the gauntlet that he's going to get more love than Alex Sayan.
I have to. So for people who don't know, Alex manages Toronto Dance Salsa, a company that Evan is one of the owners of, or the owner of, and so he has been around Evan for years, and Evan is just like ground him down, and what is left is it's like chipping away at the marble to find the statue underneath.
There you go.
So now he's a Superman, and so he crushed it. He did so. He impressed me. I've known him for a year and a half or 2 years, and he impressed me. He really made me think, and so he got a lot of love. And now the gauntlet that I'm throwing down is he's got nowhere to go but down.
Wow! Listen, so Alex made a quantum leap forward from last September to this May. He just really, really rose to the occasion. He's made a lot of progress in his own life and his own growth that then really translated well into the group. Last September, I would say, was his coming out of trying new things, but still figuring things out. And he put all the pieces together really well this time. Come this September, he's going to be in a new role. So he's swapping roles. So he's got to learn some new skills. And Mark Drager is coming up on his heels.
I'm coming for him.
He's coming for him. We'll see who eats whose dust when all is said and done. I'm really excited.
That makes me really nervous now, actually.
That's good. Mark does things that makes him nervous.
Yes,
So
I do.
I haven't launched it yet. I'm actually behind on a whole bunch of stuff because I've been fixing my office. So,
Evan, dude, when we were in Cleveland,
Okay.
I said, when you get back, You're going to be back in your office. You should
Okay.
redo it. And your response was, are you kidding me? My office is amazing.
Right?
That was your response.
Great. So like Mark's advice is solid, and he should have pushed harder. That's what I learned from it.
You're like, are you kidding me? I got all these people up on the wall. You think I
Wait.
got to change anything?
Oh, that's there. No, that's there. But I added in my neck braces, the 2 of them that I wore.
Yes, good.
I added in my first video camera that you helped me pick, Mark Drager, that I used for...
Your first serious one, yes.
Yeah, I think I used it for at least 2 years.
Yep.
So that's there. Yeah, and anyway, so I got obsessed about that, and now now everything's behind. My book is behind. They're waiting for me for a sample chapter, and I haven't given it to them.
Yeah.
We have a deal with a huge YouTuber that wants us to sign an NDA that I need to review. So the deal's not like he's ready to sign and pay, but I have to review the NDA. My YouTube course, I have footage that I have to put into the course.
That's going to be really hard for you.
Oh
You're pretty
what?
good at keeping secrets, but you know what's
Okay.
pretty hard for you? To
What?
remember that you even signed an NDA with someone. I can just picture you talking about stuff in 2 or 3 months, not even remembering that you signed an NDA.
I don't think so, because with those kind of clients, I never say deep of what we're doing for different people. I've helped a lot of the biggest names in the industry for YouTube, at least for thought leadership, entrepreneurship stuff. I help almost everybody.
I mean, you spent 5 hours with me this week helping me on my thumbnails. That's like, I'm like one of the leaders right now.
Right? Every now and then I like to slum it too, you know? I like hanging I like getting in the dirt, you know?
Wow.
But yeah, so I usually don't say things without people's blessing, because it's also a super competitive, super cutthroat business. These guys are friends, but also like secretly hate each other. Yeah, and they want to destroy each other. So we never talk about who we're working with and what we've done for them anyway. So I just have to make sure. This was like a 5-page NDA though. That's longer than normal.
I appreciate you telling me this because you told me last week who you were working with, and if you had, and I may have just randomly said something. So maybe
great.
you should tell everyone that you're working under an NDA.
Jesus Christ, Mark Drager in the house, ladies and gentlemen.
What? I'm on your team. I'm on your team.
Right? Good.
Yeah.
You're covered by the NDA. Now don't spread it.
I won't. I won't say a thing to anybody.
What else? I don't know. There's a bunch of like really major things that I need to get done.
I'm switching offices too, by the way.
Like moving? Or what?
I'm leaving this boardroom. That I use the boardroom as my office. I'm going into the back, and I'm redecorating and I'm making it next level. That's getting cleaned out tomorrow. We're doing tear down, paint, and everything next week.
Great.
New space.
We're reno buddies.
Got to create an extraordinary space.
Right? That's what I'm talking about.
Next level environment.
So everything is behind. And so I need to get all that done. It's mostly done now so that I can focus on getting these important projects done.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, topic of the week. Also for our regular listeners, you may have noticed that some episodes are a little bit bumpier than others. Some we seem to be clicking, we seem to be rocking it, and then others. We got some great feedback this week about Evan. Did you read?
Really?
But, yeah. But
what was the feedback about me?
The feedback was that Mark approaches everything from a place of understanding and saying, "I believe and I think and I feel," and that Evan is too declarative and maybe needs to relax a little bit. Those are my words, but that was the gist of it.
No. It was saying Evan says that I'm right, but then doesn't dive into explaining why he's right.
Oh,
that was a quote.
I didn't read it that way. I read it like Mark is understanding and great, and Evan is way too declarative.
Jesus Christ! Go and actually read the thing, Mark. It said that
I don't need to. I know how I feel. having read it.
It doesn't say no. That is
anyway,
not true.
That's not. We're getting to the topic. Let's get into the topic.
No. But here's the thing. This could be useful because I responded to that. I sent it to you so you could see it because any feedback about the podcast I try to find and see and send to you.
Yeah.
But I responded. I explain it until Mark gets it, but we don't always pull it all the way
for the audience.
because when I'm right, listen, when I feel I'm right on something, I'll be declarative, and I think that's actually the best. But where we're maybe missing some of the point is deeper context for people watching or listening to actually understand all the way through. Mm-hmm. I stop. Just like I said, I respond to questions when I feel like you actually care about it. Once you get it.
That's where I was getting to. So backstory, we have some bumpy episodes. We have some great episodes, and we're like, Evan, we got to figure this out. So Evan and I are talking last week after a great tight episode. We're talking, and we're like, and Evan realizes that the difference between you being bored, Evan, and you loving the conversation is whether I'm playing the part of host or I'm playing the part of mentee, I guess you might say, protege.
Not necessarily. No, not necessarily. I just need you to actually care about the question. When Mark asks a softball question that he already knows the answer to, I don't want to answer that question. I want legit questions that Mark actually cares about. It doesn't have to necessarily be mentee. We could be talking about something. Mm-hmm. But I have to feel like the person, and it's not just you, in general, I have to feel like the person I'm talking to actually cares about this, or I check out, forget this.
Mm-hmm. So here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Ready? This is the new format. I have a question for you. And it actually still ties into our podcast 2 weeks ago where we talked about the limiting self-beliefs and the things that we tell ourselves. So I want to talk about the idea, and we spoke about it like really early on in our podcast, but I want to go deeper into it. Okay. The idea that I don't have enough money to do what I need to do. Okay. So as entrepreneurs, there are never enough hours. There's never enough resources. We are always saying, if only I had this person, if only I had these things, if I just got here. I used to say when we were a $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 company for revenue, I used to say if I just got a lot smaller or if I just got a lot bigger, I'd be profitable. But right now I'm too big to keep all the money and I'm too small to really be making money or crushing it. And so when it comes to finances, when it comes to money, when it comes to how we can deploy resources, it just never feels like enough. It feels like the answer is to have more revenue, more profits, outside money, outside finances, going to the bank, getting the loan, whatever it is. There never seems to be enough money to do the things that we want to do. That's what I want to talk to you this week about. Barely got that out. Okay, do you feel like I believe the question?
Kind of, but what's the question? You just never feel like you have enough money? So
what do we do about that as entrepreneurs? How do we either deal with this? The answer, I already know the answer. That's why you're not sure whether I believe it or not. The answer is never to go get financing, to go try and find the shortcut. But knowing that that's not the answer, getting financing, getting investors, trying to operate the company in an unprofitable model is not the answer. The answer is to work your butt off. But I don't like that answer. I still don't have enough resources. I still don't have enough people. It doesn't, just because I know the answer isn't to get financing, doesn't mean, how do I still operate and grow and live? How do I work with what I have to work with?
The answer is you need to figure out how you can bring more value to people so you can charge more, then that can fund your other growth projects.
Bringing more value can not take more resources, but it could also take more resources. I could need, I need to build the system in order to drive the value. I need the clients in order to pay for the system. Chicken and egg, which do you build first? What do you do?
You work to see what's the highest value that you personally, Mark Drager, as well as the team that you have. How can you bring more value to your clients using the people you have? What are you great at? You're great at some stuff, and other stuff you're figuring out. To put it nicely, great, you're figuring it out.
You don't have to put it nicely. You don't have to put it nicely.
No, it's fine. You're figuring it out. It's fine.
Put it mean.
But the stuff that you're figuring out, you're operating at break even or a loss because you're building, you're creating, you're trying to do something new that you haven't done before, and so
but let's think people pre-revenue, people pre-startup or in startup or a year or two in. If you're on year 4 or 5. I mean, either you're going to be giving up and closing down because you're not making anything, or you got some stuff figured out. Maybe not next level things, but you got some things figured out. So let's think.
If you're pre-revenue, then you start with a service. You don't start product because product costs money. Product costs money to develop, to create, to R&D, to ship, You don't start product, you start service, and you take your big, huge vision of what you want to create and then micro it down to how do I take what I have and start charging money for what's in my head. You start with a service. And then you get good at it, and then you start increasing your pricing. And then you either decide I want to build a service-based business and scale that way, or you then start to build your product around paying customers. Like if you're doing this part-time and you're pre-revenue, then my immediate goal is how do I make money within the tree that I want to play in, right? Like it's related to my ultimate goal. This is going to help me get to where I want to go. How do I make enough money as a service provider so that I can quit my job? I think that's a great question people should be asking. Like, look at what I'm doing with Jeremy. I pulled Jeremy from working at a...
Explain to the whole audience who Jeremy is.
Jeremy is a new entrepreneur. He came to my workshop last September on a moment in the desert. I also decided, hey, I'm going to start a YouTube consulting business with Jeremy. Great. So I plucked him up. I taught him what I know about YouTube, most of it, 80% of it, and he's working at a grocery store. And so he just quit his grocery store job on Friday because we landed some deals for him, and it's a service-based business. Here it is.
What did he do in a grocery store? I love this so much.
Oh, I don't know, bag stuff. I don't know. What do you do in a grocery store? Nothing. Like minimum wage.
Like he worked the meat counter kind of thing?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know because he didn't care about it, right? I don't pay attention to those details. Who cares? He didn't like it.
Dude,
Great, I don't care.
Backstory.
Great. He can tell the backstory. He didn't like it. He's working a grocery store job that he didn't like. Let's pluck him. I love doing that kind of stuff. And so he stepped up and did a ton of research, and he's using my training and my name to get deals. And the first priority was consulting, right? So for $1,000 a month, he'll hop on a call twice a month with you.
$500 an hour.
And give you strategies to help you grow your channel, right? And that's the starting point. Now, as he gets good and as he builds his roster out, you start charging more. You turn it into products. So you build a team. There's a lot of different ways. It could be Jeremy at the top and 10 consultants underneath him. Where it goes is a lot of different potential avenues. But the starting point is Jeremy needs to make enough money to quit his grocery store job. And for him, that was 2 clients. So we got him 2 clients. And so he quit his job. Now, one of them I need to sign the NDA of. Because that's holding up the payments. But who sends a 5-page NDA? It's crazy. I just have to make sure
Americans do.
I just have to make sure there's no non-compete or anything in there. Otherwise, an NDA is fine.
Yeah, but you don't want a non-compete. You don't want an IP. And ideally, you would have it governed by the province of Ontario, where you offer your services, not wherever they're located.
Yeah. So I got to look at it.
Sorry, I don't know why I fell into NDA mode there.
But that's holding up this deal. But otherwise, we have a deal. So that's it. Like, this is the starting place for a lot of people. You have knowledge. In this case, he's been infused matrix style with YouTube knowledge, right? It's like, plug it in, I know YouTube, right? Great. He has the knowledge now. Now, how do we use that knowledge to allow him to make money so he can quit his job? This is it. It's a service-based business. Reaching out to people who have a problem, who have a budget, right? You're not targeting people who are just starting up because $1,000 a month is a lot of money. But it's somebody who they want to take YouTube seriously and they have a budget and they have a team. That's an easy yes. It's an easy yes, right? And so that reaching out, and then like a month later, he's got 2 clients.
Great. So he's building his company. Let's use him as a case study. He's building his company.
Yeah.
He has your support, your guidance, but he knows his stuff. He reaches out and gets these 2 clients. It's amazing.
Yep.
He's going to hit whatever the next level is, which is going to be the investment or the bump, either into marketing or he's dealing with these big people, so maybe he has to hire a better lawyer, or he runs into accounting issues, or he needs an EA, like an assistant, to help him organize his time because suddenly he's just not following up with people properly. Maybe he's a terrible project manager even though he's a really gifted coach, so now he needs some help with that. As our businesses grow and scale and become more complicated and more complex, it moves from us being an army of one to suddenly needing the 3 people, the 4 people, the 8 people. It moves from us doing, a few things okay and a few things bad to suddenly we now need to get better. If we're going to be an amazing consultant, suddenly now maybe we're getting asked to speak places, we have to fly places. Do we have time? How do we schedule stuff? It's just, we need... Even in this very simple business, this very, very simple business at this point, maybe he wants to get into starting to be a media buyer for people because they like him so much and they're like, oh, you're helping me with this, but I want to do media placement better. And so now he sees an opportunity to bring on someone for media placement, but he needs the media buyer in order to grow that part of the business. In my experience, this is how organic businesses grow. You spot the opportunity, you decide you want to go after it, but you need to make the investment, but you don't have the money to make the investment.
That's why the service has to be profitable enough that you're good at what you do, you're charging enough that you can afford to invest in other things. Mm-hmm. That was my answer to you. Like, you need to take your core business and deliver so much value with it because of all your expertise that you can charge what you're worth on it to then fund the growth of the stuff that you're just okay at. Same thing with Jeremy. So right now, the first goal was get Jeremy so he can quit his job. Great, he quit his job. Awesome. Right?
It's
next goal is you got to keep these clients. You got to make them happy, right? So your first 2-3 clients, shut down new development. Make these guys happy. Get them results. Like, especially in the first month, you have to deliver a lot of value.
In my experience, it's as hard as people find sales to be, it is so much easier to sell a client than it is to keep a client. It's really easy actually to sell a client. It's much, much harder to keep that client because...
So you have to over-deliver, right? You got to show them lots of value. So it's, of all the ideas that you have to help them grow their YouTube channel, what's going to actually make the biggest difference quickly? So that they start seeing traction, momentum, and that you know what you're talking about, right? So that's the next priority. Great, you've done that. Now, how do we get 10 clients? 10 clients is $120,000 US business a year. It's a great business for one person, right? 120K a year. Awesome. From there, what's the plan? Because at some point now you're going to start getting tapped out. You're not going to be able to support 40 clients on your own. So what do you want to do next? And we'll get there when we get there. Like, you can have the greatest plan in the world, but do you want to go into media buying? Do you want to create a product? Do you want to just increase your prices and now instead of 1K a month, you're 3K a month, right? Do you want to bring on people underneath you and you're the senior partner and then you have these junior people who are doing the work and you come in to make sure they're doing the right job? Do you want to franchise this out and teach your model and how other people can do it? Do you want to sell workshop? There's a million different ways that you can then go. You have to get there first. Right? Like, we got our first clients. Awesome. Now keep them happy. Deliver results, work your face off to keep them happy. You're putting in way more time than is worth at the beginning because you have to learn how to keep clients happy. And I'll be helping him do that.
So the struggle that I face, and maybe others face it as well, is I never realized when I started my firm in 2006, when we were doing very, very focused video. We were focused on video for 10 years and nothing but video production. As complicated as my business appeared to be, I didn't realize how simple it really was until we started adding new services, other services, and expanding and going like, holy smokes. I didn't realize that we were in such a profitable, streamlined, linear, simple business. And now, we're expanding out, we're contracting and expanding based off of basically my mood, because some days I feel like we can crush everything, and other days I go, this is not worth the effort or the trouble. But when you go from one core offering to a more complex business, it's just really hard to figure out where to, you only have so much money. You need to try and do some things really well, and you're going to kind of to your, I'll say what you wouldn't say. We suck at other things. So how do you, I need a lot of people. I need a lot of people in a lot of roles so we can start crushing it in a lot more areas, because the stuff we suck at is hurting our name.
Awesome. You're in a different position than Jeremy, right? We're talking about pure startup versus somebody who's been in business for, I don't know, how many years? 10 years?
13.
13 years, 7-figure business. It's a different story. For you, you need to take what you're great at, which is video, which you know you can crush, which you know you can bring tons of value in, and use that, squeeze the margins like crazy on that business, give insane value so you're making tons of money from video so that you can invest into these other projects. But the bets need to be small bets.
But it's the same. So this advice. This is good advice. Because it's the same whether you're running a multi-million-dollar business.
I like the pause. This is good advice.
No, I'm thinking this through. I'm rendering this through in real time, Evan. I'm kudos to you for
you need to make more money from your videos. You need to make more money from your video production business until you get so good on the agency side that you can afford to charge more.
But so this is why I paused, because when I was a $500,000 company, I said, just when we're over $1 million, we're going to have our stuff together. When we're over $1.5 million, when we're over $2 million, like, you're just going to keep setting the bar. But in a service-based business, your expenses grow parallel or in line. My payroll grows with my revenue. My cost of delivery grows with my revenue. Hopefully, you're keeping those like, you're trying to find some economies of scale or some savings. But the problems we had at a $300,000 or $400,000 company are the same problems we have now at a multi-million-dollar company. They're just bigger numbers. You just add an extra zero to your revenue versus payroll, your revenue versus cost of delivery, the amount of time you have. Just add a zero. You go from 10 clients to 100 clients. You go from 100,000 to 1 million. Just that's it. And so
Grant Cardone's in the house right now.
Grant Cardone is in the house. There you go.
Scale 10x, Mark. Scale 10x.
That is
coming from Grant Cardone.
That is the answer. But whether you're facing, you were saying about squeezing the profitability of your current profit center to apply those profits to the higher value things that you might be operating at break even. The reason I paused is because this is great advice, whether you are running a $100,000 business or $1 million or a $10 million business. If you have a core profit center that's really working for you, or core offering, and you're great at that, and you want to supplement with other things, I guess squeeze this one so that way you can go out and do what you want to do on the other areas.
If you were building your video side and just scaling that up and just adding layers of management because you need it to get to a bigger company, that doesn't fulfill your purpose. Like, you need to squeeze the margins out of the video production side.
I want to do everything amazing. That's my problem. Is my one word is extraordinary, and so we don't do it yet, but we want to have extraordinary account management and project management. We want to deliver extraordinary quality work and production value. We want to have extraordinary creative and extraordinary results and media management and analytics and insight. And so when you start to spread my level of expectations across every single practice group in the company, suddenly this is a very, very expensive business to run and hard to fund. So.
But focused timelines. Like, where do you want to grow first? Do you want to grow the video side, which means you're going to have to invest on the video side and get better project management and everything else, and that's where you're going to put your investment? Or do you want to grow the agency side? Like, it's all part of the master plan, but not taking on 18 things all at once and sucking everywhere. Like, how did we start this thing? I said, hey, Mark, I'm behind on my projects.
I know.
Because I need to go off and I need to fix my office, right?
But do you really need to fix your office? Is that a priority for you?
Yeah, I mean,
Why?
Whether it's the right priority or not is up for debate, but it's sequential. Like, I'm going to crush this, and then I'm going to go crush that, right?
When did you decide? What day? Because we had dinner on Saturday, and this wasn't on the radar. What day did you decide that you needed to redo your office?
I don't know.
Grant is saying delivery service without scaling is impossible. Squeezing margins is impossible in the new economy.
Well, you're making money from your video side.
Yeah, that's our
If
profitable
you just
side of the
kept
business.
it, if you just kept it where it was, you would make money. You know how you'd have this much money to invest back into the company. So, are we going to invest that into better project managers that then in 6 months will pay off by us being able to charge more for our services? Maybe if that's the bet you want to take, awesome. Or we're going to take that money and say, video production is not where we ultimately want to be. It's part of the game, but I want to build up my agency. That's the biggest potential. That's where I'm most excited. And so, taking the money and put it there. But to do both, then you don't have resources to do anything. But it's also like mental distraction. You're losing your mental focus to say, I'm going to be here and here and here and here, and then nothing gets done. So you can make sprints. It doesn't mean you have to take some huge leap each time, but focused attention. For the office, I don't know, dude, like Sunday probably. What day is today? Thursday?
Today's Thursday. Yeah.
Probably on Sunday. Maybe not even. Maybe, I don't know. It's probably like Monday. It was fast, dude.
Because
It's fast, and then
Nina emailed or texted me on Tuesday asking if we wanted old furniture.
Oh, maybe it was Tuesday. No, it wasn't Tuesday. I think it was yesterday.
Yesterday.
Was it yesterday? When did she email you?
When she
Anyway,
texted me,
I don't know.
on
It's
my
fast,
phone.
dude. But this is how it works. It's fast, and then that's gonna get crushed. It's gonna be amazing, and then I'm gonna move on to something else, and that's gonna get crushed quickly, and it's gonna be amazing, right? Like that's how it works. Focused attention on one thing. And that when you have focused attention, you can go so quickly and get so much done and then move on to the next thing. Like when we talked before, you said, my biggest problem is I need to hire this new role in my company. We don't have anybody to do this thing. Like, dude, how long have you been trying to hire? Like, if you just said, this is the most important thing for my company, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes, I don't know if Grant's still in the house, whatever it takes to do it, you would find the answer. Right? And I think that's the job of the leader, is to figure out what is the most important decision in my business that I can drive the most value from, and then put as much energy into that thing to make it happen as possible. I mean, to my own advice, like I haven't done that today. I've been working on not today. Today was all interviews, but like yesterday, working on my office. But even on the distraction projects, it's all in. Like, this is happening.
But your office is not a priority. You have
I made it.
a
No,
book.
I made it.
Jeremy's got to go back and work at the grocery store because he won't sign the NDA.
Strategically, you're right. Yes, you're right. I did not need to drive to Burlington last night.
Did you do that to buy furniture?
Yeah, man. Yeah. We had to pick up at a store in Burlington.
How did you fit that in your Porsche?
It wasn't that big a thing.
Okay. Hold on. You drove to Burlington to buy something tiny?
Yes. We drove to Burlington because that's the thing. When you posted last week about, should I spend $100 now to get this thing or wait 3 weeks for it to come in or something?
Backstory.
It's the same thing.
Backstory.
Okay. Yeah.
So I love My Beats by Dre. Evan and I were at Tony Robbins in November, and the music is pumping, and I was so fired up. And I said to him, you know what I'm going to miss when I get back to my office? I need music. I need loud music. And I am too worried that I'm going to distract my team to like really go crazy and have like the windows shaking and stuff. And so I was like, I need something. So we're in the airport, and there's one of those kiosks that sell like really overpriced electronics. And I was like, Evan, wait. And you heard me because you were walking away, and I was like, just hold on. And I went in and I bought a pair like way overpriced. but it was amazing because then in that moment I had the headphones I needed. The next day I could be using them. And so I've worn them every single day. They lasted 7 months. And then I destroyed them in 7 months. So here's the thing. I really wanted to replace them. It was full price, $400 if I walked into a store to buy them, or if I just waited 1 week, I could get them for $289. And you know what? That the thought, it's not the $100. It's the thought that it'll bother me forever, that every time I look at them, I'll be like, I could have got them for $100 cheaper if I was just patient. And so I was torn on this, and I put it out on Instagram, and I said, should I spend $100 more to get something immediately, or should I wait 4 or 5 days and save and get them for $289, which is a great price? And Instagram didn't even help me because the responses were 50-50. But I will tell you that the people who told me to buy it right away were all actually Evan Carmichael / entrepreneurs. And the people who told me to wait were all my friends who have like day jobs or work with other people. So that was an interesting little piece of insight. The real answer was I went to Best Buy and they just price matched. So I got them right away and I still saved $110. That was the best answer. That was the win.
But momentum matters. Like, listen, if that's your last $100, then fine. Yes, don't be stupid. But momentum matters. Momentum for $100 makes a difference. Driving to Burlington to get the thing because it has to happen right now, it matters because it also teaches you. It teaches you that when you think of things that you urgently need to birth them into the world, that your ideas are worth something.
I'm so not good at this.
Great. So that's why I said do
like
it.
my projects drag out, never get done. I work on 140 things and slowly kick them forward. Don't you feel like we're switching subjects here, but this is awesome. Like, don't you feel that you are failing all of the other people and other projects because you're busy focusing on getting your office repainted?
Yes. Yes. But if I'm not painting, but if I can't focus on Jeremy's NDA until I get this done.
But that's stupid.
It is, but it's like I think that's how you should work. Like, listen, Dude, 90% of the time I'm on track. Right? I'm not.
You will email me on a Friday. You will email me on a Friday that says, "What's going on with this campaign? I'm obsessed with selling 50 books for 20 books for 50 minutes. What's going on Saturday? What's the strategy Saturday afternoon? What's the strategy Sunday? What's the strategy?" If my response to you was like, "Dude, I can't talk to you for 5 days because I'm busy redoing my office. I'm heads down in my office. I will talk to you in 5 days." Would that not piss you off?
Of course.
That would piss you off.
Yeah, of course it would.
But you would forgive me and understand it?
No, listen, if that kept happening, listen, I deliver for the people that I work with. Like, I have delivered for Jeremy.
And you did help me. You did help me for 5 hours on my thumbnails throughout this whole office.
And I've delivered for you, and I've delivered for everybody on my team, right? And it's very rare that the thing that's keeping me distracted from doing a business thing is something like this, right? But sometimes that happens. Like when I had the Shania Twain Dance Challenge, that was my day. It was my entire day. And so I think it's good. If that's constant what's happening to you, then I'd be figuring out how do I build a business around these crazy ideas that I keep coming up with, make it into some kind of experience or something. But the people who I've let down, I have a deep bank account with in terms of contributions that I've made. Yeah.
Right.
If you said in a one-off, like, "Hey man, I need to do this for me, and I can't help you right now," great, I'd understand. If that was consistently the Mark Drager experience, then I would go somewhere else. But it's not. Like, when I've needed help, Mark has been there. And so in a one-off that he's not available, I might be pissed, but I'll find another way around. Did I tell you the backstory about the whole car thing? This is great. This is a great example.
Go.
Okay, so
hit me.
So one of the women who came to my event, her name was Tammy. She came and offered to do a free photo shoot with me before we did the event. So she came up a day early. Mm-hmm. I find out that her son loves cars, and Lamborghinis specifically. So I said, "Hey, if you drive me home, we got Lamborghinis in my garage, not my like Evan Carmichael garage, right? I'm in a condo and there's a bunch of Lamborghinis of people who live in my building." So they drove me home and we went through and he spent 20 minutes looking at one Lamborghini. It's like, man, this kid is like super obsessed because I don't care that much about cars. And so I have a friend who owns one of the largest collections, private car collections, finest cars in the world. Bugattis, Lamborghinis, 13 Ferraris, crazy. So I said, I want to take, it's his birthday coming up. I want to surprise him and say, "Hey, I want you to come to do this thing." Mm-hmm. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're in our event, so we can't do it. Like, I'm not going to step out. So I asked him if he could do Saturday. He can't do Saturday. He said Monday. They're supposed to leave on Saturday. And the father is a preacher, so he's got to be in church preaching on Sunday. So I said, "Nina, can you take these people to this collection?" My wife, Nina, "Can you take people to this collection on Friday, just the kids, because I'll be with the parents in my workshop." Mm-hmm. She didn't know them at the time, so she said, "No, I'm not going to do it." Like, okay, great. But here's the thing. When I get obsessed, it's like, fine. Nina always steps up. Nina didn't want to do this one time. Awesome. I'm finding a way. So I said, okay, we'll do Monday. Tammy, can the mother and the son stay until Monday, and the father and the daughter will go back home? I'll pay for the extra hotel. I'll pay for the flight for them to go back home. The son has never been on an airplane before, which you didn't know.
So their family drove up here, right?
Family drove 12 hours from Kentucky to be here.
Yeah.
So the father drove home.
And you're going to fly them down.
And I would say, I'll pay for the hotel for 2 days. I'll pay for your flight for both of you to go home.
You're like Oprah. Amazing.
Great. And Monday, we're going to go and see these cars, because this is a life-changing experience for this kid who loved Lambos, and here they are, right? And then I told Nina, and she's like, oh, if you told me you were going to do that, I would have just taken them on Friday. And so I told her, Nina, you know me. Like, what did you think was going to happen? Right?
Oh, I love it so much.
What did you think was going to happen? And so, I didn't sleep the night before my workshop because I was trying to figure this out. This is just how my brain works.
Yeah, you're crazy. You're crazy.
I have to do it. This has to happen. He has to go see those cars. Like, it has to happen. So I'm going to make a way to make it happen. And so here's a case where Nina put a block where normally she's always stepping up. Like, the amount of work Nina did for the workshop was insane. But she didn't want to do this one thing. So I'm gonna make it happen. I'm going to just find a way around her and go do it. So the same thing with you. If Mark, who always steps up for me when I ask for something, is not available for 5 days because he's painting his office or doing some meditation or whatever, I don't care what he's doing. In my head, it's like, Mark is gone. I'm going to do this. I'm not waiting 5 days. Like, 5 days is 2020, right? It's like, it's another year.
2020 is today.
Away. It's a lifetime away because the energy state that I'm in right now matters. And something has to happen while I'm feeling this way, because this is how we're going to birth excellence. That's how I feel. And so it has to happen now.
But while you're busy getting obsessed on this one thing, there are other parts of your life, other parts of your business or your team. I mean, you're in a position where you're lucky. It's falling apart. You're out on the tour for 90 days and your team is crumbling.
Yeah. So one, I build a no crisis business. So luckily there's no crises that are coming to me. Like, when you called me on Facebook today, I'm like, what's happening here? Like, Mark, don't call me on Facebook.
I had a quick question for you.
You don't call me when you have a quick question, right? But
I wanted to make sure this setup was going to work. This whole
whatever. I don't care. I'd rather it fail.
It might fail.
But,
it's the best.
So I build a no crisis business, right? So that helps. So we're not constantly responding to other people's emergencies. Two, most of the time, what I'm obsessed and focused on is business related. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I'm off doing 1,000 different, I'm not Oprah and like on the street saying, hey, or whatever. You know, like I never do this. When people say, after the Shania Twain dance challenge, they're like, when's the next one? There isn't.
Right.
Like that's not what I'm not becoming that. That was a one-off thing that just had to happen for that day. So I very rarely like write off entire days for non-business related stuff.
So after our dinner, you and I grabbed dinner with our wives and Louis from my company and his wife on Saturday. Yeah. Mm-hmm. On Monday, I said, hey, Louis, did you have fun? How did it go? He's like, oh, great. He's like, I feel bad. We talked about business a lot. And I was like, what did you think was going to happen? He's like, well, I felt bad for, the wives. And I was like, hold on. Like, what did you think was going to happen? We're getting dinner with Evan. What else would we be talking about other than business? It was just so foreign to me. So anyway. I told him.
We probably should have split up to have the husbands on one side and
Next time.
Yeah. So that it hasn't come back to sting me because again, I'm so focused that when I'm with somebody, I'm with them, and that time matters, and we create excellent moments together. Mm-hmm.
So wrapping up this topic, money. It feels like we never have enough, but your advice, your suggestion is to focus on a service where you can crush incredible amounts of value until the point you need to make your business more complex. And when you do, you need to take that profit center, that thing you're crushing, and you need to continue to do it better and try and eke out as much profits as possible so you can reinvest those profits into the new areas you need to grow and expand, and you knock things out one at a time. Whether you're a $10 million company looking to acquire someone else, you take your current company to acquire and do that one at a time, or whether you're in startup or 100 grand or wherever you are, you do what you do really, really well, eke the profit, and then apply it to the thing you're doing next. Is that what you're saying?
That was good. Yeah. I'm just feeling really happy about the rant that I just went on. That was great. I feel like there's some good some good clips we can cut from that.
Amazing. You're getting Gary V on me now, where you're just like, did you just hear that? Did you just hear that? That's
great. That was a good moment.
Crush it on LinkedIn. That's gonna crush it on LinkedIn.
That was great.
Awesome.
Okay.
So you're proud of yourself.
I am. I'm very proud. But also, kudos to Mark Drager for bringing it out.
Thank you. I will take my credit. We're going to circle around on some listener questions. Before you do, I did see one question pop by as we were talking. So before you hit the questions, I just want to hit it real quick. What
about our questions? Don't you have your 3 fun things, whatever?
We used up a lot of time. We got 13 minutes left on this. So I do want to get to listener questions. But one question did pop by. What if you're in a service-based business where the market is very, very saturated? This was a listener question. You're in a service-based business. It's really saturated. There's lots of people already doing it and doing it well.
Go for it, Mark.
Go for it, Mark. So there has to be something that you do that makes you really good at what you do, right? The reason you're getting into this business is because you're really good at it. And while you look at the entire geography of the entire area and you say there's so many people doing it, the only thing that matters are the 1 or 2 people you can make a connection with. So if you were thinking broad and big, you're thinking 100,000, 1 million, 10 million people, you go, how am I going to get them all? But what you should be thinking is, how do I get Jane? How do I get Frank? How do I get these people to consider me and give me a chance? And if they are going to, you are not competing against everyone else because they're not looking at everyone else. They're only looking at you. And so this is where relationships, this is where connecting with people through social media, this is where maybe being a thought leader, it matters about you connecting with that one person and having the conversation, engaging and helping them, and starting there. Start at the 1s and 2s. Don't try to think about how you're going to get the thousands or the 10,000s of people right away.
There's always room for quality at the top.
Every time we do these answers, there's always this pause. There's no yeah, you know what? On what Mark is saying, I'm going to transition. There's no transitions. There's just like this pause for a cut point, and then you go.
Oh, I just want to make sure you were done with your thoughts.
I was, but what about that's good advice, Mark. But the way I would take it, what about a nice little transition statement for us?
No. Transition, no. I did transition. This was a beautiful transition. The pause, let it sink in, and then here's something new. You don't want to be in an industry where there's no competition because that means there's no demand. So go in and care more and be better and crush it. Every single industry is barely getting by. The people are barely caring. There is so much room for quality if you just care and you're good at what you do. Yeah.
As Evan said, that was a good answer. Lots of passion.
Great.
Hit us with the questions. Evan's in charge this week.
Okay. Okay, I recently read a scary article that said 1 in every 2 persons in Canada will be diagnosed with cancer by 2030 or so. What is your take on this? Go for it, Mark. What do you got? What's your take on this? This is a wild question.
I don't know anything about that. So 50% of the population in 10 years, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. It's outside of my wheelhouse.
Okay, great. Listen, everybody watching, you already have cancer.
It's cancer of the mind.
What happens when people have cancer? Then they start taking their life seriously. Then they start eating better. Then they start doing the things they need to do. But for a lot of people, it's too late. The fact is you actually already have a lot of cancerous cells in your body. It's just not big enough to become a cancer. But you have cancer already. Treat your life more importantly. You have cancer. Great. Not 1 and 2. Everybody. All of you, all of y'all, you have cancer right now. So what are you going to do to fix your life? That's my take on it. Okay.
Believe.
Thanks. Eric, how to find or choose the one thing in your life?
Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
Go. Yeah, do it.
So I think it depends on your age and experience. So if you are in your 30s or 40s or 50s, I think you really need to dig deep and think about the moments in your life where you feel like you're living, like you're excited about things, you're looking forward to those things, you would go out and do those things, whether people paid you or not. And if you are younger than that, I think you need to experience a lot of things. So my wife, I have kids who are ranging from 12 down. My wife and I got married fairly young. She's been at home with the kids for a long time. And so she's at the point in her life now, in her mid-30s, where she has the opportunity in front of her to do whatever she wants. And that can be really, really scary to say, what am I going to do? If you're 21 or 22 or 23, if you're in high school and you're being faced with what am I going to do, it is an incredibly scary and frankly, in my mind, stupid question to be asking yourself, because life is really long and you don't know. So what you need to do is you need to think about the 3, 4, 5, 6 things that you maybe have an interest in, and go out and start tasting things and start experiencing things and start figuring out what areas you're good at and what areas you aren't good at, and look at the Venn diagram of overlap and allow the time to discover within yourself what you really care about, what people are telling you, hey, you're really good at this, and you didn't even know you were really good at it, and just take some time to think through that. And again, if you're older, think about all these moments that are happening to you, the things you love, the things people are telling you you're good at, the things that you think you can drive value in, and then have the courage to pursue those things.
I got to take a quick sidebar on this because somebody asked me if this is bulletproof coffee. And I went to Whole Foods this morning to get some. And it's the only thing I've had. It's 4 o'clock almost. It's all I've had today. I had a coffee and then when it's almost done, I refill it with water. So it's basically water with a little bit of coffee taste. And it's coffee with butter and MCT oil. And it's 4 o'clock. I haven't eaten anything today. It's wild. Anyway, I know I say it because Mark is he's on a keto / intermittent fasting diet. So anyway, it just hit me like, man, it's almost 4 and I haven't had any food.
You're making yourself proud, eh?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't feel like, but I don't feel like it's a struggle. Like I'd be proud if it was my goal to not eat till 6 and I'm really starving right now. I'm not hungry. It's weird. It's more of a PSA for Mark and everybody else, more than like I rock.
What about Mark? Great answer. Or I don't know. What about the?
Listen, I'm looking at you.
Let's work on our Q&A.
I'm looking at you, and I got inspired to share that story.
Why? Thank you.
That's what happens.
I was up half a pound today.
Oh, really? What's your total since you started this whole thing?
My total loss?
Yeah, or gain. I don't know.
On my high days, I'm still where I was before, and on my low days, I think I'm down like 3 pounds.
In how long?
I've been doing this for 3 or 4 weeks or something. But I did 4-hour body for a year before that, so I'm switching from one thing to another.
Okay, cool, man. Mm-hmm. Good. Listen, I'm pumped.
Great. What's your answer? What's your answer?
Who, I, how. So who, I, how. It says who, I, how. Who? What's your one word? Most important core value. Figure that out. It'll change your life. Why? Your purpose comes from your pain. So whatever your most painful moment was earlier on in your life, that'll be your purpose for life to help others. So I'm going to want to believe in entrepreneurs forever. And then the how will change with time. The how is not the problem. It's figuring out the who and the why first. When you figure out your who and the why, your how will almost take care of itself. Like how you got out of the hole that you were in becomes a recipe to teach other people how to do it. So for me, it's modeling success. I'll do that for life. The execution of it will change with different technology and just different interests. But who, I, how. Go through that process. It'll change your life.
I love this comment here. Someone said, Evan, love your hairstyle.
Right? Listen, this takes time to. It doesn't take any time.
Oh my goodness! Okay. I was looking at a photo of you. I don't know if it was 2 or 3 years old, but you had you weren't doing the you weren't shaving your head or anything. And I was like, wow, you look so different. You look so different with rocking hair.
Okay.
I'm used to bald Evan now. Great.
Awesome. I love it.
You're welcome. Okay. You're welcome, you mean.
Anything else on that you want to dive into?
No, I'm good. Next.
Okay, great.
Next.
How to get verified on Instagram. Well, Mark's not verified. Mark wants the blue check. He talks about it.
I need the blue check so I can have longer than 10-minute IGTV videos. That's all I need.
You also rank better for content and comments and everything else if you have it.
Okay.
You apply. The short answer is you apply. Like when I got mine, you couldn't apply. There was no way to apply, but now you can apply. The thing is, Instagram's the hardest one. If you're trying to get verified, I would look at the other platforms first. Basically, you need to show that you're an expert, you're unique. There's a risk of confusing you with somebody else. So like this is the official Evan Carmichael account, right? Or Arvind, right? This is the official Arvind account.
But typically, you would have like 100,000 or more, or 75,000 or more. You'd be on the way to having a larger following.
No. Stephen Kelly has one. Like the former CEO of Sage, who I worked with for a number of years. I don't know how many followers he has on Instagram. It's not that big. There's lots of people.
Yeah, but he has like a Wikipedia page. So.
But that's the thing. Like you're credible. It's like you are the official person. You're in the public eye. Whether you have, there's lots of people who have. There's people who have 1 million followers on Instagram but aren't verified. Like it's not about the size. It's more, would you be confused for somebody else? Are you the official this person? So I would go to the other platforms first, get verified there. They want to see your media. They want to see that you've done other work. That again, you're in the public eye. Instagram was the hardest one. I got rejected the first time that we went through the process. It was the only one that rejected me. And I was the furthest ahead, right? Like when I don't know which was the first. I want to say Twitter was the first. When I got verified on the other platforms, I had less momentum and less credibility compared to now. But I got rejected the first time on Instagram. So it's the hardest one. It's the hardest one to get. But the short answer is you just apply. What's the difference between personal development and the common notion of coaching, Mark? Go.
Personal development and the common... I think personal development is something that you should always be doing, and it's something that you can do yourself. Most times you're working with a coach, you're trying to seek out either clarity, you're trying to have direction, or you're going to try and get someone to hold you accountable, and it's like regular sessions. So personal development is about digging deep and growing and becoming more mindful of who you are and what's holding you back. So I see those as two totally different things, just trying to achieve the same goal, different flavors of the same thing.
Great answer, Mark. Okay, one more.
You could have said it was a garbage answer.
Have you done your meditation today? No, that's from Michael. Michael, are you like outside, Michael? Michael's coming to do a healing meditation for me. So I did a meditation this morning. I have to imagine my neck bone reconnecting as part of my morning meditation.
To the neck bone, like that?
Yeah.
You just sing
okay,
that?
we got 20 seconds, Mark. Close us off.
Thank you, Evan, for your time. I appreciate it, as always. And I guess the audience gets to find out whether this whole technical experiment really worked.
And next time, take top billing. Come on, man.
Mark Drager and Evan Carmichael, out.
There you go. If you want to see the last episode of my podcast with Mark, it's fire. The link is right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.